Well, well, well. You're not going to believe this because the energy around you right now is unlike anything you've stepped into before. There is someone specific, intentional, obsessed, digging for information on you. This is not a casual curiosity. This is not someone scrolling by your name because they were bored. This is deep digging, background pulling, document reading, question asking, trying to piece you together kind of digging. And the funniest thing about all of this is that the deeper they dig, the more unsettled they become. They expected to find someone ordinary. They expected to find someone predictable. They expected to find someone who could be played with, controlled, redirected, silenced, or used. Instead, they found gaps. Moments where you survived what should have destroyed you. Decisions you made that no one in your position should have had the clarity to make. Patterns that don't match the story they were told about you. And every new detail they uncover is causing them more panic than relief. Someone, your boss, an authority figure, someone claiming power over you, is getting exposed right now. Not by you shouting, not by you fighting, not by you demanding anything, but simply by the truth refusing to stay hidden any longer. There's paperwork, conversations, timelines, numbers and decisions that don't align. And the only way they can explain any of this is by trying to make you the problem. That was the plan. That was the strategy. Blame you, break you, remove you, then move on like nothing ever happened. But something they didn't calculate correctly was your endurance, your resilience, your insight. The part of you that doesn't fold just because someone else feels threatened by your presence. Someone is researching you because the version of you they were told about does not exist. They were told you were weak. They were told you were reactive. They were told you were reckless. They were told you were difficult. They were told you were easy to corner. They were told you were someone who would crumble if just the right pressure was applied. But none of that has happened. Instead, you did the opposite. You stood still inside yourself. You evaluated everything. You chose your responses instead of reacting impulsively. You handled everything in a way that doesn't match the file someone created about you. And now they look incompetent because nothing they predicted about you has come true. Your boss, this person who thought they had full control, is being exposed. Not by a whistleblower, not by a co-worker, not by an angry email, but by the very fact that the story they created about you is collapsing under its own weight. Someone higher than them is reviewing everything. Someone above them is asking questions they cannot answer. Someone is noticing patterns they tried to hide. And the moment they pulled up your background, your history, your records, your movements, they realized something they weren't prepared for. You're not normal. Not in the way they define normal. Not in the way they categorize people. Not in the way they expect employees or community members to behave. Your independence and intelligence are causing disruptions they weren't prepared to handle. You weren't supposed to walk away. You weren't supposed to rebuild. You weren't supposed to figure out what was happening. You weren't supposed to resist. You weren't supposed to heal. You weren't supposed to thrive. The entire setup was designed so that once you were pushed out, your life would crumble in the exact way it crumbled for every single person before you. But that didn't happen. You didn't fall apart. You didn't lose yourself. You didn't become desperate. You didn't return begging, apologizing, or accepting their false narrative. You went inward. You reorganized. You created a new path. You strengthened yourself. You refined your identity. and now they don't know what to do with that. There is something about you that they cannot read, something about you they cannot measure, something about you they cannot break. And that is what's driving them into this obsessive digging. They're looking for a flaw. They're looking for a crack. They're looking for evidence you did something wrong. They're looking for a way to justify what they tried to do to you. Because if they cannot justify it, they will be forced to answer for it. Someone is trying to gather enough information to turn the narrative back in their favor. But every page they flip, every piece of data they review, every name they search, every detail they study, paints you as someone who should have never been crossed, someone they should have respected, someone they should have supported instead of sabotaging, someone whose potential is far greater than what they attempted to box you into. You weren't meant for the position they assigned you. You weren't meant for the limitations they placed around you. You weren't meant for the treatment they tried to force onto you. You were meant for something much bigger, and the more they research you, the more embarrassed they become. Because now they're realizing something they never wanted to see. The person they tried to eliminate is the person they should have never underestimated. Someone in your workplace or authority structure is panicking. They can't sleep properly. They're replaying past actions, past conversations, past decisions, and they are connecting the dots they tried to ignore for months. You weren't the issue. The issue was their obsession with controlling you. The issue was their fear of your intelligence. The issue was their discomfort with how you refused to shrink yourself. The issue was their insecurity. And now those insecurities are being exposed. There's a group attached to this, a circle, a clique, people who all agreed on the same narrative about you, people who participated in the same attempt to undermine your confidence or reputation, people who thought they were playing a smart game by aligning with the boss, supporting their version of events, pushing their agenda. Now those same people are whispering. They're stepping back. They're distancing themselves because something came out, something undeniable, and now everyone is scrambling to protect themselves individually. Someone in authority is under review. Someone is being questioned. Someone is being evaluated. And they are trying to explain why everything they claimed about you does not match the evidence. They told people you were irresponsible. The records show the opposite. They told people you were hard to deal with. The interactions show the opposite. They told people you underperformed. The results show the opposite. They told people you deserved to be pushed out. The timeline shows the opposite. Every attempt they made to make you look unworthy has boomeranged. But what's even more disturbing for them is the realization that you recovered too fast. You adapted too quickly. You built too strongly. You grew too rapidly. You stepped into your purpose too confidently. They expected to see you fall apart. They expected to hear rumors about you struggling. They expected to witness you collapsing under pressure. Instead, they're watching you rise. This is why someone is trying to pull up your background at a deeper level than before. They're looking at your family line. They're looking at your upbringing. They're looking at your past jobs, past environments, past challenges. They are trying to find the source of your strength because they know they didn't give it to you. And that scares them. People like this believe power only comes from them. So when they encounter someone who carries power from within, they immediately become threatened. Someone higher than your boss is noticing the cracks in the story. Someone with actual authority is questioning the decisions that were made. Someone is checking timestamps. checking communications, checking behaviors, checking consequences. Someone is discovering that something was hidden, something was twisted, something was manipulated. There is also talk of a failed attempt, something that did not go according to plan, something that was supposed to push you into a corner but never reached you the way they intended, something someone tried to arrange behind your back, a setup, a trap, a situation meant to discredit you. It didn't work. It didn't land. You were too protected, too aware, too guided. And now the failure of that attempt is part of why they're digging deeper, because they need to cover their tracks. You're not normal to them, because you don't break the way others break. You don't fold the way others fold. You don't react the way others react. You don't lose yourself the way others lose themselves. Your calmness confuses them. Your focus frustrates them. Your ability to rebuild terrifies them. Your intuition exposes them. Your progress humiliates them. A sacrifice was planned, symbolic or strategic, something designed to ensure that you were removed so someone else could remain in power. But that sacrifice reversed. It didn't stick. It didn't take. It didn't follow the usual path. And now they're scrambling, because the chain reaction they expected is happening, just not in their direction. Instead of you losing everything, they're the ones losing credibility. Instead of you panicking, they're the ones staying up at night. Instead of you wondering what will happen next, they're the ones terrified of the next phone call, the next meeting, the next email. Someone involved in this is obsessively watching your updates, your progress, your posts, your work, your movement. They're trying to understand how you're still standing. They're trying to understand how you didn't collapse. They're trying to understand how you got ahead of them without ever knowing the full extent of what they planned. But someone else, someone at the top, is forming a new opinion of you. They're seeing you as someone who deserves respect, someone who deserves recognition, someone who wasn't treated fairly, someone who was targeted for reasons that don't make sense. And this person is about to make a decision that changes everything. Because now, as the last piece of information is being reviewed, as the final page of their investigation is being flipped, as the energy around you tightens into something that can't be ignored any longer, something begins that leads directly into what unfolds next, something they were never prepared for, something they didn't anticipate, something that shifts the entire direction of their plan without making a sound, without showing a signal, without giving them any warning to brace themselves. It starts with a realization they didn't expect. The deeper they dig into you, the more they uncover things that don't match what they assumed, patterns that don't align with their accusations, timelines that don't support their suspicions, behaviors that contradict every negative story whispered about you. And this is where their discomfort starts to grow, because the investigation they initiated to expose you is slowly, quietly, unmistakably turning into an investigation that exposes them. Your boss feels it first. That tightening in the chest, that shuffle of fear behind the eyes, that unspoken worry that perhaps triggering this entire search was the worst decision they ever made. Because instead of finding weaknesses in you, the people digging are finding cracks in them. Old decisions they hoped nobody remembered, choices they thought had been buried, moments of manipulation they assumed would never come to light. But when someone searches for one person, the light doesn't stay still. It spreads, it moves, it illuminates. And now that light is drifting in directions they don't want it to go. Their discomfort sharpens every time the investigators ask a question that hits a little too close. Every time someone mentions a date they'd rather forget. Every time someone asks for documents they didn't prepare beforehand. Because the truth is, they initiated a hunt without realizing hunters don't get to control where the trail leads. They don't get to decide what gets uncovered. They don't get to limit the truth once it's already moving. And while all of this unfolds, you remain the same, calm, steady, deliberate, collected. But this calmness of yours becomes the greatest threat in their eyes. Because they expected panic. They expected fear. They expected hesitation or slip-ups or self-doubt. But the more pressure they try to apply, the less you react. And this unsettles them deeply. Because when a person has nothing to hide, their energy doesn't scatter, it becomes sharper, focused, unshakable. And that is what they didn't anticipate. Your centeredness, your steadiness, your ability to hold ground even when others try to push you off it. Their attempts to corner you only expose how cornered they feel themselves. But here's the part that truly disrupts their confidence. The investigators begin noticing the contrast. They notice how stable you are versus how nervous your boss becomes. They notice how your answers are clear and consistent, while your boss's explanations keep changing. They notice how your behavior makes sense while theirs becomes increasingly contradictory. They may not say it out loud yet, but the shift in perception is happening. And once that shift begins, it's impossible to reverse. You can feel the tension building in the environment. The air around them grows heavier. Their eyes avoid certain directions. Their voice trembles in places where it used to sound firm. They start over-explaining things that nobody asked them to explain. They start volunteering information that wasn't requested. And worst of all, they begin checking on you more often than before, as if trying to read your thoughts, as if trying to predict your next move, as if scared you already know what they're trying to hide. But here's what they don't realize. You already sensed everything long before any of them knew what they were walking into. Your intuition picked up the shift. Your awareness decoded the undercurrents. Your instincts recognized the tension before it had a name. So when this investigation opened, you were not blindsided, you were prepared. Not because you expected an attack, but because the type of person you are forces others to reveal themselves. It forces the truth to surface. It forces hidden intentions to show their outlines through the cracks in their behavior. And as the digging continues, the people conducting it start noticing the one thing your boss hoped would stay buried: the pattern of targeting you, the subtle moves, the attempts to undermine your work, the quiet hostility in their decisions, the unexplained inconsistencies surrounding your evaluations and assignments, the sudden changes that made no logical sense. When these things start connecting into a pattern, the story shifts. The narrative flips. The questions begin to change direction. It's no longer, what is this person hiding? It becomes, why were they targeted in the first place? A question far more dangerous for your boss. They can feel the narrative slipping out of their hands, and this is where desperation starts to show itself. People in power panic in stages, and your boss is entering the second stage, the stage where they try to rewrite what happened, hoping someone will believe the version they're now inventing. They start rewriting old explanations. They start pretending decisions were made for reasons that never existed. They start portraying themselves as concerned or misinformed rather than manipulative or threatened. But the problem is that the more they try to twist the story, the more their actions reveal their real motives. And now, the investigators aren't just looking at you. They're observing the power dynamics around you. The subtle interactions, the tension in conversations, the inconsistencies in your boss's behavior, the paper trail that doesn't support their narrative, the emotional trail that points directly to insecurity, not leadership. They're seeing the truth that your boss worked extremely hard to hide. This investigation was never about your mistakes. It was about their fear of your capabilities. The fear of someone who is smarter than they expected, more resilient than they anticipated, more aware than they hoped, more principled than they could ever emulate. And while they thought digging into you would expose something damaging, it only exposes how intimidated they've always been by you. The team digging deeper begins to notice your strengths, your work ethic, your discipline, your consistency, your clarity, your emotional steadiness, and most importantly, your refusal to attack back or retaliate. That restraint alone makes their motives look even more suspicious, because when a person is guilty, they react impulsively. But when a person is honest, their composure speaks louder than any defense they could offer. Now the attention begins to lean in your favor, not because you pushed it there, but because truth naturally gravitates toward the person who has nothing to gain by lying. And the more this truth aligns with you, the more pressure your boss feels. Their behavior becomes even more unstable. Their fear becomes even more visible. Their voice starts cracking in places where it used to sound firm. Their decisions become rushed, disorganized, inconsistent. And this inconsistency gives investigators a subtle but unmistakable signal. Something is wrong on that side, not yours. Your boss begins trying too hard. And when people try too hard, they reveal exactly what they're trying to hide. Meanwhile, you remain unmoved, not because you're ignoring what's happening, but because you already learned something powerful long ago. When someone tries to sabotage you, their downfall is built into their actions. All you have to do is remain aligned with your truth. That alignment is your protection. That steadiness is your shield. That clarity is your advantage. And slowly, the narrative shifts again. Your co-workers notice it too. They start whispering quietly to each other, not about you, but about the boss. They start questioning decisions that once seemed unquestionable. They start revisiting moments they experienced but ignored. They begin remembering things your boss said, things your boss did, things your boss implied. And now, those memories look different. Now they see the patterns. Now they see the intentions. Now they see the insecurity in your boss that they once mistook for authority. Even people who never defended you before begin rethinking their assumptions. Your name begins shifting from the one under review to the one who was unfairly targeted. Your reputation slowly rewrites itself in real time, not with your words, but with their realization. And here's where the next phase begins. The investigators start asking questions your boss isn't prepared for. Why were certain decisions made? Why did certain opportunities get blocked? Why were certain responsibilities shifted? Why were certain false narratives encouraged? These questions hit harder than anything targeted at you. Because while your answers remain consistent and clear, your boss's answers become messy, vague, defensive. Their story keeps changing. Their memory suddenly becomes uncertain. Their reasoning becomes complicated. Their explanations grow longer, but their credibility grows smaller. This is the moment where they realize the danger they're truly in. Because now the spotlight is no longer on you, it's on them. The people digging into your background begin digging into theirs. The same intensity, the same scrutiny, the same examination, and every attempt they make to redirect attention only redirects suspicion back onto themselves. And all the while, you haven't done anything except remain grounded, honest, and aligned with who you truly are. That is the part that terrifies them the most. Because a person who is honest cannot be controlled. A person who is grounded cannot be manipulated. A person who stands firm in truth cannot be taken down by lies. And now you can feel it, the shift that signals something massive is about to unfold. Not a moment of downfall for you, but a moment of exposure for them. A moment where the truth that's been buried under their decisions finally breaks through the surface. A moment where the investigation they initiated becomes the mirror they didn't expect to face. And just as this tension reaches its peak, just as they feel the walls pressing in, just as they realize the situation is spiraling beyond their control, something begins to unfold that transitions directly into the next part. Something that will change not only how people see them, but how people see you. Something that doesn't just continue the investigation, but deepens it into territory they never wanted anyone to enter. Because now the people reviewing everything don't just want answers. They want origins. They want context. They want the reason behind the decisions that led to this situation. And the moment they shift from what happened to why was this done, the floor beneath your boss begins to shake. This is the point where the entire narrative flips, not gradually, but sharply. The way a locked door suddenly swings open when someone finds the correct pressure point. One question, one inconsistency, one mismatched detail is all it takes for the investigators to see the pattern your boss tried to bury. And it begins with something small. An email they thought nobody would revisit, a decision they made on impulse, a comment they left in writing without realizing the weight it would carry months later. That single overlooked detail becomes the thread that unravels everything they tried to disguise. And now the people reviewing the situation start requesting things your boss hoped would never be inspected. Older records, previous reports, conversations involving decisions that affected you directly. They start tracing timelines more carefully. They start comparing actions with policies. They start checking for alignment, logic, fairness. And every time they examine something connected to you, a new crack appears in your boss's story. They can feel it. They can see it in the investigators' expressions, the way their brows tighten, the way they exchange brief glances, the way their tone becomes less neutral and more analytical. Your boss tries to interpret those small cues, but each cue tells the same truth. The people reviewing this aren't buying their narrative anymore. And this realization hits them harder than anything that has happened so far. Because the one thing they needed to maintain control was belief. They needed the investigators to believe that you were the problem. They needed them to trust the story they crafted. But now that trust is slipping through their fingers. And once trust begins to fall, it falls fast. No one in a position of oversight wants to be caught supporting the wrong person. No one wants to appear negligent. No one wants to risk endorsing someone whose motives are questionable. Your boss feels their authority shrinking with every question asked. Their tone becomes defensive. Their posture stiffens. Their responses grow longer, yet explain less. They keep insisting they were just following procedure, But every supporting document contradicts the way they used that procedure. They keep insisting they were only concerned, but concern doesn't align with the pattern of actions they took. They keep insisting they were trying to help, but nothing they did reflects help, only targeting. And now, the investigators begin bringing in people who witnessed things, people your boss forgot were in the room, people who overheard comments, people who saw the unfair treatment but chose silence back then. But silence doesn't stay loyal forever. It shifts when the truth becomes safer to support than the lie. One by one, small testimonies start surfacing. Someone mentions how your boss's attitude toward you changed after you performed better than expected. Someone else mentions the way your boss overreacted to minor mistakes you didn't even make. Another recalls moments where your boss spoke negatively about you without evidence. Another remembers when they questioned one of your assignments because it didn't match your role or skill level. These recollections don't come out aggressively. They come out quietly, cautiously. But even quiet revelations have impact when they align perfectly. And now, a picture begins forming, one your boss didn't want anyone to see. A picture where you weren't the problem. A picture where they were trying to hold you back. A picture where their decisions were fueled not by professionalism, but by fear. Fear of your intelligence, fear of your influence, fear of your growth, fear of your potential to outshine them. It becomes clearer with every passing moment, and this clarity is dangerous for them. Because now the investigators aren't just reviewing what happened, they're assessing the leadership behind it. They start evaluating how often your boss has made similar decisions. They start noticing this isn't an isolated case. They start piecing together a long pattern of insecurity disguised as authority. You can sense the shift even from a distance. There's a new weight in the environment, a new attentiveness in people's eyes, a new seriousness in their voices. You are no longer being examined, you are being considered, observed, respected. Your composure has turned into undeniable proof of your integrity. Your steadiness has become your strongest defense. Your patience has become the very reason others now see you differently. And your boss knows it. They try to compensate. They try adjusting their tone, trying to appear supportive, trying to backpedal with empty statements about miscommunication or misunderstanding. But their attempts only make things worse. Because when someone has spent so long operating from ego, their sudden attempts at humility look artificial, forced, transparent. People can tell the difference between real accountability and performative concern. And your boss's attempts scream performance. Meanwhile, the investigators start discussing among themselves whether this situation hints at deeper issues in the work environment. They start reviewing leadership choices. They start questioning how many other employees were affected. And every time they ask a question, your boss feels another piece of their image collapsing. They're no longer worried about the investigation exposing you. They're terrified it will expose them completely. And this is where the real shift begins. Not in paperwork, not in meetings, but in energy. Suddenly everyone looks at your boss differently. Not with trust, not with respect, but with wary distance. The kind of distance people keep when they're finally seeing someone's real nature. That distance grows every hour, every new detail, every contradiction. And you can feel it tightening around them like a rope they pulled themselves. And right when this momentum becomes undeniable, right when the truth begins forming into something undeniable, right when the people in charge start preparing their next round of questions, something much bigger begins moving quietly underneath the surface. The investigators, the higher-ups, the people with authority you didn't even know existed, all of them are stepping into a maze. And the maze doesn't lead where they expect. It bends, it twists, it mutates. Every pathway they trace turns into a reflection of their own missteps. Their obsession with you becomes their exposure. Every step they take into your history unearths a mirror that reflects them back with brutal clarity. You move differently, unnoticed by most, but their scrutiny has made them fragile. They panic in invisible ways. A too long pause before an answer, a slight tightening in a smile that isn't a smile. They overprepare, overthink, overreach, and it doesn't help. Every action becomes a confession, every gesture a giveaway. They are unraveling, and they don't even understand the thread pulling at them. Meanwhile, you glide through it, not calmly, not strategically. You glide because nothing can stop what's already unstoppable. The chaos they tried to manufacture. You walk through it like smoke, bending, folding, existing in the spaces they cannot reach. They think they've constructed a labyrinth to trap you. But it's a playground where every step you take amplifies their mistakes, magnifies their fear, exposes their limits. A colleague notices the discrepancy first. Small, almost imperceptible. A file doesn't match the story. A timestamp contradicts a claim. They mention it quietly, as if afraid their voice could break the spell, and suddenly the investigation fractures. The dominoes begin to fall, but they fall sideways, unpredictably. Papers shuffle, messages are reread, private conversations surface, digital footprints align in ways no one anticipated. And your boss? They can feel it. Every cell in their body knows they've stepped into a trap they didn't even see forming. Their attempts to redirect, to explain, to justify, to charm, to manipulate, they all bounce off the walls. They can't control the audience anymore. They can't even control themselves. Their voice becomes a weapon against them. Every explanation is a fracture in the image they tried to preserve. And then the absurdity starts. The absurdity of believing that someone like you could be contained. The absurdity of thinking a person who sees everything would ever be fooled by the theater of power. Your boss begins to sweat in ways that aren't visible. Tiny, internal tremors. Tiny cracks in posture, in tone, in focus. A minor oversight, something they assumed no one would notice, becomes catastrophic. They look at the world around them and realize the map they drew has already changed. Somewhere in the background, the investigators start laughing. Not out loud, not cruelly, but that kind of quiet, sharp acknowledgement of the absurdity of reality. They are watching someone crumble under their own narrative, while the person they sought to suppress moves untouched, unscathed, untraceable in the chaos. You become the axis around which every miscalculation revolves. The people around them start noticing it too. Quietly at first, then with more daring. Whispers, glances, questions that used to be buried now surface. Why was that decision made? How did that get approved? Who was this really about? The air shifts. Their comfort dissolves. They can no longer hide in authority because authority itself has become transparent. And with transparency comes exposure, and exposure is contagious. You didn't touch a thing. You didn't even act yet. You merely existed with authenticity. Every email they mismanaged, every opportunity they blocked, every subtle act of sabotage, the truth of it is illuminated by your presence alone. They begin to see that their fear of you wasn't imagined. It was real. But the fear that once held them in control now owns them entirely. Documents appear, old logs, buried messages, unnoticed timestamps, all of it suddenly aligned, a mosaic of intent that cannot be ignored. And as the investigators stitch it together, the story crystallizes. It's not about mistakes anymore. It's about design, not about coincidence, about pattern, about obsession, about the limits of ego facing someone who refuses to yield. And the bizarre thing? No one had to fight. No one had to confront. No one had to shout. The system your boss tried to command, the rules they tried to manipulate, the authority they brandished like a weapon, all of it is turning into proof of their own misjudgment. Your existence alone is dismantling the facade. They start noticing details they can't unsee. The way your work always aligned with outcomes they couldn't predict. The consistency they tried to dismiss as luck. The growth they tried to suppress. The subtle influence they assumed was accidental. Every trace of you is now a testament to the chaos they failed to control. And then a message arrives. Not official, not expected. A line of inquiry that no one thought of. A decision that no one anticipated. A call from above that flips the perspective entirely. Their world, which they tried to anchor in manipulation, begins to drift. They are not the subject. They are not the center. They are now the example. And you are the force. The unacknowledged, unstoppable, uncontainable pivot on which everything spins. Their panic, their scrambling, their calculations, they all revolve around you without them even realizing it. Every strategy they employ is feeding into your elevation. Every attempt to undermine is documenting your vindication. It becomes surreal. The absurdity of their control slipping. The subtle theatricality of watching someone unravel from the inside while remaining untouched on the outside. It's almost too precise, too ironic, too perfect. And they can feel it. Every instinct they trusted screams at them, but instinct is powerless when confronted with truth. And you are not shouting. You're not dramatizing. You're not overextending. You are merely present. Your calm is a scalpel cutting through illusion, revealing vulnerability where they thought there was strength. Every observation, every recollection, every record they tried to manipulate now aligns in a way that exposes them beyond repair. Your rise is not noisy, it's surgical. It's deliberate in the way chaos unfolds naturally when it is not restrained. And for the first time, everyone sees it. Not your achievements, not your work, not your resilience alone. They see the consequence of underestimating someone who cannot be cornered, cannot be predicted, cannot be bent. They see the power of clarity in the face of desperation. And your boss? They are left with the aftermath of a story they tried to write, now rewritten by your presence. A story of authority crumbling, of obsession failing, of ego defeated. And they understand, too late, that the very force they feared, the quiet, untouchable, unwavering integrity of someone like you, cannot be bargained with, cannot be hidden from, cannot be stopped. The word spreads like fire through alleys, through the hum of neon and the grit of asphalt, through the echoes of footsteps that hesitate before they reach your shadow. Every whisper in the city carries your name, not as rumor, not as exaggeration, but as a warning written in the blood and breath of those who have tried and failed. They speak it under their breath, a confession they didn't want to admit. Every assassin, every hired blade, every man with contracts, etched in gold or sealed in sweat, turned down the pursuit. They studied the papers, calculated the risks, measured the odds, and then, invariably, folded. They folded because whatever they thought they understood about you was a lie. Whatever edge they believed they held dissolved the moment they glimpsed the measure of what you have become. You are no longer merely someone who walks through the city. You are a presence, an invisible pressure that bends the atmosphere, warps intention, and unsettles those who think they have choice. They thought they could approach this like a job, like a task to be completed, a puzzle to be solved. But you are not a puzzle, and the pieces do not align. You are the question they refuse to answer, the problem they cannot solve. And the streets, the city itself, understands this better than any man or machine ever could. The pavement whispers, the alleys lean closer, the neon flickers with the anticipation of your movement. They feel it, the currents that bend toward you, and it terrifies them. Consider the assassins for a moment. These are not amateurs. These are professionals, trained in shadows, honed in violence, precise and cold. They have faced threats, eliminated targets, dismantled lives with efficiency. Yet every one of them recoiled at your name, your presence, your essence. Why? Because what they sensed could not be contained in contracts or threats. They perceived the danger not as a statistic or a weapon, but as a force that watches, waits, and moves with a rhythm they cannot predict. They imagined traps, ambushes, teams, contingencies. They mapped the city in diagrams, plotted escape routes, rehearsed outcomes. Then they realized it was all meaningless. They realized the hunt was never theirs to conduct. It belonged to you. And now, the city shifts. The air tastes different, heavier, charged. Street corners exchange glances in the language of instinct. Someone leans too long against a brick wall, sensing eyes they cannot see. Tires hiss around corners, the hum of engines muted as if acknowledging a predator already in motion. Because you are back. Not as rumor, not as memory, but as an escalation. The whispers are no longer curiosity, they are fear, and the fear has teeth. You walk where others hesitate, you move where others pause. Your presence does not announce itself with noise or arrogance. It is felt, a subtle pull in the currents of the city, a tug that bends attention, alignment, intention, and desire. Those who once thought themselves in control find themselves twisting, adjusting, recalculating their path, as if gravity had shifted beneath their feet. The city obeys you, not through magic, not through ritual, but through observation, through the subtle weight you carry. You are not seeking them, they are seeking you, whether they know it or not. And every step you take magnifies the imbalance. Somewhere, someone has a contract. It sits in a drawer, signed, sealed, ready to be executed. And yet the assassin assigned to it trembles, not out of weakness, but out of recognition. They understand, instinctively, that the target they were sent to eliminate is not just dangerous. They are untouchable in a way that violates every law they know. And when they attempt to approach, to analyze, to rationalize, they are met with an emptiness that is heavier than walls, sharper than blades. You are a presence that bends reality for those who dare to measure it. And yet, you are not a phantom. You do not hide in shadows to avoid detection. No. You step into the city with eyes that have memorized its weaknesses, with movements that have rehearsed the impossibilities, with a rhythm that anticipates hesitation before it happens. You are chaos refined, fear sculpted, a force that is deliberate in its unpredictability. Each step is a message, each glance, each pose, Each subtle tilt of your head carries the weight of inevitability, though you never call it that. They feel it anyway. And the street corners whisper it, the alleys murmur it, the lights flicker it. He's back, and this time, no warnings. Every assassin who considered the contract has now backed away, whispered excuses, filed the paperwork, turned down the assignment. They speak of it as if it were luck, as if circumstance dictated their survival. But those who whisper understand that luck has nothing to do with it. You are no accident, no anomaly, no random force. You are the escalation, you are the truth they cannot face. And as the contracts vanish, the hunters themselves become prey, not because you chase them, but because your existence warps the fabric of pursuit itself. The city breathes differently when you pass. Windows shutter, blinds tilt, conversations halt mid-word. There is a moment, barely perceptible, when time itself seems to hesitate. A taxi slows, a pedestrian falters, a camera lens catches a reflection and then blinks, uncertain. You do not notice these things, but they notice you. And it is not admiration. They cannot admire what terrifies them. It is instinct, primal and unreasoned, an acknowledgement that the balance has shifted. And yet, there is method in your chaos. There is precision in your movements that defies comprehension. You're not scattered, not impulsive, not driven by emotion. You are deliberate. Every misstep they expect, every reaction they anticipate, every plan they lay is absorbed, inverted, and dismantled by the rhythm you carry. The assassins who once laughed at contracts, who once plotted with confidence, now understand that no plan survives your presence. Not because you strike first, but because you exist in a dimension of strategy that they cannot touch. Consider the whispers again. The streets are alive with the tension of expectation, the scent of anticipation. People do not speak of your name lightly. They speak it in fragments, in quick, cautious syllables. Every voice that utters it adds to the weight of the legend you are building. And you do not build it actively. It grows because the city recognizes power when it moves among them. Power that is not loud, not boisterous, not desperate. It is inescapable in the way that the tide is inescapable, in the way gravity bends inevitability without announcing itself. The assassins who refused their contracts are not cowards. They are measured, rational, precise. And yet, even they understood something before their hands even touched the weapon. You are not like them. You are not a target. You are a phenomenon. You are a force of balance, chaos, anticipation, and fear, wrapped in a form they cannot comprehend. And when they fold, when they retreat, when they whisper apologies to invisible powers, it is because they recognized, at a cellular level, that this is not a fight they can win. The game has already shifted. And now, with every step you take, the streets align to your rhythm. The alleys bend in anticipation. The lights flicker with intention. The shadows shift to accommodate your presence. The whispers do not fade. They multiply, ripple, surge. And within that current, you feel the pulse of the city responding, acknowledging, respecting, fearing. You do not command it with words or threats. You command it by existing in a space that forces acknowledgement. There is a thrill in this, though it is not the thrill of victory. It is the thrill of awareness, the awareness that the currents have shifted, that the rules are no longer written by the timid or the predictable, that every observer, every hunter, every contract holder, every man with knives or bullets or poison in his pocket is now reacting to you rather than the other way around. You are no longer part of the game. You are the force that defines it. And in that force, you cultivate something lethal: patience. They do not see it, do not measure it, do not anticipate it. They expect immediate movement, action, resolution. They do not recognize that the real power lies in stillness, in observation, in letting the currents move around you until they expose their weaknesses, until their own fear becomes the weapon that bends the outcome. You do not have to strike. You do not have to announce yourself. The city, the streets, the contracts, the whispers, they all do the work for you. The assassins who walked away, the contracts that dissolve, the whispers that carry your name, these are not markers of luck. They are indicators of escalation, and escalation is not announced, it is experienced. Those who ignored it, misread it, underestimated it, now find themselves navigating a terrain they cannot map. Every step they take, every decision they make, every glance over the shoulder reinforces the truth. You are not a target. You are a force. And forces cannot be bargained with, cannot be contained, cannot be bargained away with gold or threats. They exist, and in their existence, they alter everything around them. The city, the streets, the assassins, the whispers, they all bend toward that existence. And every day that passes, every footfall you make, every shadow you inhabit, increases the weight of that recognition. They are learning, slowly, painfully. They are learning that nothing they hold matters. Their contracts, their plans, their confidence, they are illusions in the face of what you embody. And yet you do not seek their acknowledgement. You do not crave their fear. You simply exist, and it radiates. You move through corridors, across intersections, into rooms and spaces, and the world tilts, adjusts, hesitates, falters. That is your currency, your power, your signature. The assassins who turned down the contract may believe they saved themselves, but they have only confirmed a truth that cannot be reversed. You are not someone to be hunted. You are the standard by which the hunted measure themselves. And soon, very soon, they will realize that the whispers they hear are not just warnings. They are indicators, signs of a force that is growing, refining, escalating, calibrating to a level they cannot anticipate. Every step you take, every shadow you enter, every pause you make, reshapes their reality. They do not know what you will do next. They cannot imagine it. And that is your advantage. That is the edge no contract, no weapon, no skill can overcome. Because while they wait, analyze, calculate, hesitate, you are already moving, already evolving, already escalating to the point where the whispers will not just speak of your presence. They will speak of your inevitability. They will not know when you appear, how you strike, or why the city itself bends to your rhythm. They will only know the aftermath, and by then, it will be too late. And now, as the city bends, as the streets shift under your invisible gravity, as the whispers become a chorus that trembles with respect and fear, a new dimension opens. It is not a dimension of movement, not a dimension of steps or shadows, but a dimension of perception. They do not see you yet. They cannot. You are already in places they never imagined, touching spaces they never measured, influencing outcomes before they even conceived them. Every corner they thought safe, every alley they mapped, every contract they folded, they were wrong. Every calculation they made to limit you, to contain you, to anticipate the trajectory of your actions has failed, because they do not comprehend the architecture of presence you wield. Presence is not measured by volume, by numbers or by weapons. It is measured by the ripples it leaves in anticipation, in hesitation, in the unspoken calculations of those who dare to exist near it. And in that, you have already won. They believe themselves observers. They are not. They are participants in a game they do not understand, moving along a field already contoured by your attention, your focus, your escalation. Every assassin who turned down the contract has already adjusted their behavior without realizing it. Their instincts, sharpened for survival, are now bent to the rhythm of your steps, the weight of your gaze, the inevitability of your movement. They adjust, retreat, recalculate, hesitate. But each adjustment only confirms what they cannot yet name. You are untouchable, not because you strike, but because existence itself conforms to your calibration. They are afraid, yes, but it is more than that. They are unsettled at the level of perception itself. They feel the shift in probability, the displacement of expectation, the subtle distortion of the world they thought they knew. And you move within that distortion, deliberately, calmly, yet with a precision so exact that it appears chaotic to them. Chaos is the mask of intention, the cloak for strategy, the guise under which evolution thrives. You walk through streets that vibrate with rumor, through alleys that lean inward as if listening, through the hum of the city that now pulses in rhythm with your presence. And all the while, they whisper your name. They whisper it not to call you, not to summon you, but to measure themselves against the impossible standard you have set. Every syllable carries weight. Every pause carries threat. Every echo reinforces a narrative they cannot break. They are not prepared. They never were. And as the streets respond, as the city itself bends, as every shadow leans in anticipation, the next move begins. Not with sound, not with signal, not with visible force, but with awareness. You do not announce. You insinuate. You exist in the space between intention and action, in the realm where decision hesitates, where thought falters, where instinct strains to keep pace with perception. And in that space, they unravel. Contracts become irrelevant. Weapons become irrelevant. Calculations, alliances, contingency plans, all irrelevant. And still you do not strike, not yet. The city itself waits, and so do they, unaware that waiting is the mistake. The longer they linger in hesitation, the more you expand, the more influence you accrue, the more inevitability becomes unavoidable. They measure risk with their experience, with their training, with their tools, but they cannot measure presence. Presence is not a quantity. Presence is a dimension, a force, a distortion in the air that bends probability to its will. And in that, every step you take, every glance you cast, every subtle shift of posture, every breath that moves through the urban space around you, reshapes reality for those who thought themselves hunters. They speak in fragments now, conversations halted mid-thought, observations shared with caution, eyes darting, analyzing, reassessing, yet still unable to construct a model that predicts, contains, or confronts you. They whisper about fear, about legend, about survival. But these are empty words. Words are powerless when presence alone dictates outcome. And as they whisper, as they recalibrate, as the currents of tension build and fold in on themselves, the awareness spreads. The city does not belong to them. The city belongs to the one who moves unseen but felt, the one who bends expectations and displaces assumptions, the one who has returned and will not wait, will not negotiate, will not show mercy. Every assassin who ever considered the contract now moves like shadows themselves, hesitant, reactive, aware that every moment of delay is a lesson in futility, and still the game is not in their hands. The game never was. They are actors on a stage they cannot see, responding to cues they cannot anticipate, reacting to a rhythm they cannot comprehend. Every effort they make to regain control only accelerates the unfolding truth. Control is an illusion, a joke they do not yet understand, and you are the punchline. You step further, not in search of confrontation, but in the exercise of inevitability. The whispers grow louder, the streets hum, the tension accumulates like energy in the air before a strike. Every corner you pass bends to the rhythm of your presence. Every alley leans in, every light flickers, every reflection distorts, every pulse in the urban grid resonates with your movement. And the assassins, those who once considered themselves hunters, now react to you in microseconds, in shifts too subtle for words, in hesitations that signal the recognition of superiority. They feel it in their bones. They cannot articulate it. They can only acknowledge it. And still, patience governs your movement. They expect frenzy. They anticipate sudden violence. They wait for sound, for strike, for declaration. But you do not move in predictable patterns. Your influence is subtle, surgical, omnipresent. You are in every perception they have, in every assumption they make, in every calculation they dare to attempt. And the longer they wait, the more the city bends around you, the more inevitability becomes tangible, almost audible. It is in the vibrations of asphalt, in the hum of neon, in the quickened heartbeat of a pedestrian, too close to the shadows you occupy. And then one begins to notice another hunter, another contract holder, someone who believed they could read the signals, understand the currents, calculate the rhythm. They think they have found the flaw. They step closer, eyes sharp, mind precise, confidence intact. They measure distance, evaluate potential outcomes, consider contingencies. But every microsecond of calculation, every thought, every plan is already accounted for. Because you are always one step beyond, one layer deeper, one dimension farther than they can perceive. The city itself bends in acknowledgement, and they feel it before they see it, before they even realize they are already in the trap. And the trap is not physical. It is mental, perceptual, existential. You do not need to strike. You do not need to confront. You simply move, and every decision they make, every hesitation they exhibit, every micro-adjustment in posture, in tone, in movement, validates your dominance, their tools, their skills, their training. They were never sufficient. They were never meant to be. They are reacting to a force they cannot name, cannot anticipate, cannot understand. And in that, they unravel, slowly, patiently, inevitably. And as they unravel, the whispers grow into a tide. The city breathes in anticipation, the currents of movement shifting in subtle acknowledgement. Every pedestrian becomes a marker, every vehicle a reflection, every corner an amplifier of tension. You do not need to create spectacle. Spectacle arrives at your feet because the city itself anticipates you, bends for you, waits with a fear they cannot articulate. And the assassins who thought themselves precise now stumble in microseconds, lose confidence in their calculations, and understand that the contract they once held is now irrelevant. They are untethered, destabilized, exposed to forces they cannot control, forces you wield without effort. And yet, the true mastery is not in fear. It is not in whispers or recognition. It is in escalation, in manipulation, in anticipation. The hunters do not yet know the full spectrum of what you are capable of. They see only the first layer, the surface currents, the immediate shifts. They do not see the architecture beneath the movement, the unseen rhythm, the calibration of presence itself. And that is where inevitability sharpens its teeth, where influence becomes weapon, where absence becomes more potent than action. And so you move further, through corridors of uncertainty, through grids of hesitation, through pockets of observation and speculation. Every step amplifies the current. Every glance multiplies the tension. Every breath, subtle, unmeasured, becomes a vector of influence. And the assassins, those who once considered themselves clever, precise, lethal, do not notice their own unraveling until it is irreversible. They do not recognize the threshold has been crossed. They do not perceive the shift that renders their tools, their contracts, their confidence meaningless. And as the city leans in, as the streets hum with awareness, as the shadows themselves bend toward observation, the next stage approaches. It is not announced. It does not arrive with sound. It is the quiet expansion of inevitability, the slow crystallization of presence into dominance, the emergence of influence that cannot be countered because it operates at a level beyond comprehension. Every step you take, every subtle movement, every glance, every breath accelerates this process. And the hunters, the whisperers, the contract holders, all sense it, all react to it, all fail to contain it. And in that failure, the tension peaks. The city trembles, not with motion, but with potential, with expectation, with the weight of awareness. The assassins have no choice. They cannot strike. They cannot flee. They cannot negotiate. Their contracts are meaningless. Their skills irrelevant. Their assumptions invalidated. The city itself has declared the outcome. And the outcome is your elevation, your dominance, your unchallenged presence. And as you step further into that space, as the currents fold around your movement, the whispers solidify into acknowledgement. You are beyond reach. You are beyond measure. You are beyond challenge. And just as that realization begins to settle in, as hesitation peaks, as fear crystallizes in microseconds of thought, the next escalation begins. It does not arrive as violence. It does not arrive as announcement. It is the movement, the refinement, the evolution of influence itself. Every hunter who turned down a contract now feels it, even if they do not yet understand it. Every corner, every alley, every corridor, every reflection carries a subtle tremor that bends toward your presence. And in that tremor, inevitability whispers, the next chapter has begun, and it will not wait. And now, as that subtle tremor spreads through every street, every corner, every shadowed corridor, it begins to amplify. The city itself seems to inhale, pause, and shift in response, bending to an order it cannot name. And in that shift, the hunters, the contract holders, the whisperers, they begin to feel the shape of inevitability pressing down upon them. It is not a presence they can measure, not a force they can confront, not an event they can anticipate. It is a condition of existence you impose, a gravitational pull that defies logic, that dissolves every calculation, that dismantles every plan before it is formed. And they know it, instinctively, before reason can even frame it. They had imagined you would strike, would make noise, would announce yourself with the arrogance of a predator. But you do not announce. You insinuate. You manifest in microseconds of perception, in the pause before a gun is raised, in the flicker of a shadow that should not move. And every movement they make, every hesitation, every attempted calculation, only reinforces the reality that they are already behind. that you have already won the game they believed they controlled. They are not chasing you. They are being guided by you, manipulated without knowing it, drawn into patterns that they cannot escape, and every instinct they have honed for survival becomes a tool in the architecture of your influence, and the whispers grow louder, not in volume, but in weight. The name you carry begins to resonate in microcurrents of attention, in the split-second calculations of people who do not even know they are participants. Eyes flicker to doorways, shadows lean toward perception. The hum of engines and tires align with an invisible rhythm you orchestrate effortlessly. Every assassin who once turned down a contract now senses it. Every shadow they thought safe is already part of your presence. And they are paralyzed not by fear of the obvious, but by the realization that the obvious is insufficient, that you operate in dimensions they cannot measure, that you bend probability without effort, that existence itself has shifted in ways that cannot be undone. And yet you do not strike, not yet. The evolution is ongoing. Every step, every subtle gesture, every breath, every glance, every tilt of posture, every shift in focus is calibration. You are refining the currents, amplifying influence, solidifying the architecture of dominance. The city bends without resistance. The streets hum with recognition. The shadows lean closer, and the whispers in alleys and corners transform into a language of inevitability. They sense it, even if they cannot articulate it, even if their conscious minds resist the truth. The hunters are now prey, the contracts irrelevant, the city itself aligned with your movement. And then, micro by micro, the first signs of unraveling appear. A hunter who once walked with confidence falters in mid-step. Their gun hand shakes, though it is not visible. Their calculation, their meticulous plan, collapses in fragments too small for conscious notice. And as one falters, the ripples spread. Another notices a subtle hesitation, another a barely perceptible shift in shadow, another a fragment of awareness that bends the outcome before it begins. They react, recalibrate, attempt to regain balance, but they cannot. Every action reinforces the invisible architecture you have constructed. Every hesitation amplifies the inevitability. Every instinct bends toward you, without permission, without comprehension, without resistance. And as the tension builds, you allow it to escalate further. The city becomes a stage, but not a stage they recognize. Every pedestrian, every street lamp, every tire screech, every reflective window, every sound and vibration is already part of the choreography. The hunters believe themselves hidden, calculated, precise, lethal. But they are already moving along trajectories you designed, guided by currents they do not perceive, trapped in patterns they cannot escape. And you do not act overtly because action is unnecessary. The architecture of dominance is complete. Influence is weaponized. Presence is authority. And the hunters sense the truth before it arrives. They are irrelevant. And in that irrelevance, panic begins to settle. Not the kind that announces itself with shouts or noise, but the kind that creeps into microseconds of thought, into hesitation before movement, into the split-second recalculation of outcomes that they cannot control. Their instincts scream, but our reasoning lags behind. Their perception fractures, and they begin to grasp something essential, that the contracts they once held, the plans they once trusted, the confidence they once relied on, all dissolve in the face of a force they cannot name. And as the first traces of panic spread, the city itself seems to whisper along with them, bending every corridor, every shadow, every reflective surface to reinforce the weight of inevitability. And then the hunters begin to move differently. Not because you direct them, not because you strike, but because the environment itself has shifted. Microseconds of hesitation accumulate. Decisions falter. Reactions that once would have been precise now lag, twist, distort. And each imperfection feeds into the architecture you have built, each misstep amplifying influence, each hesitation bending probability toward your favor. They are not aware of the forces guiding them, but they feel it. They react to it. And every reaction tightens the trap, solidifies the inevitability, amplifies the rhythm of escalation you maintain effortlessly. And within that rhythm, you operate at the level they cannot see. You move through currents of anticipation, through layers of perception, through spaces they cannot conceive. Every glance you cast, every subtle shift in posture, every calculated pause becomes a vector of influence. And the hunters, sensing but not understanding, cannot counter it. They attempt strategies, they attempt action, they attempt escape. But the invisible architecture of dominance absorbs and redirects, manipulates and amplifies, dismantles and redirects. Their experience, their skill, their precision, their confidence, all tools they believed would protect them, are rendered inert in microseconds of perception that they cannot measure. And the whispers, the currents, the tremors, they intensify. The city vibrates with awareness. Doors, windows, streetlights, alleys, reflective surfaces, all align unconsciously with the presence you embody. Every hunter senses it. Every observer reacts to it without knowing why. The environment itself reinforces the inevitability, bending outcomes before they materialize, shaping decisions before they are made, imposing dominance before it is noticed. And all of this occurs without overt action, without confrontation, without sound, because the architecture of influence is complete. And as inevitability reaches its apex, the hunters begin to fracture completely. Decisions that would once have been precise now twist and falter. Calculations collapse before completion. Microseconds of hesitation become seconds. Seconds become patterns of disorientation. Disorientation becomes paralysis. And all of this occurs because you exist within a dimension they cannot measure, cannot anticipate, cannot confront. They are not opponents. They are participants in a game whose rules they do not understand, whose outcomes are determined by forces they cannot perceive, whose victory was never possible because control was never theirs. And yet there is method in this chaos. There is design in the escalation. You do not strike impulsively. You do not reveal intent. You are deliberate in every microsecond of movement, in every fraction of attention, in every breath and glance. Influence is weaponized through presence, through anticipation, through subtle calibration of space, time, and perception. And the hunters, reacting without comprehension, continue to validate the architecture you constructed before they even recognized it. Every instinct they have honed is now a tool you manipulate. Every decision they make bends the outcome toward you. Every hesitation amplifies your dominance, and the city itself responds. Streets lean toward anticipation, shadows bend toward observation, light flickers with recognition. The whispers grow into currents that ripple through every alley, every corridor, every corner. And the hunters, sensing the movement, cannot reconcile what they perceive with what they understand. They are trapped in perception, ensnared by anticipation, caught in currents they cannot name. Their skills, their contracts, their confidence, all irrelevant. The environment itself is now part of your influence, and they are powerless to resist. And then, in that perfect calibration of anticipation and influence, the escalation reaches its point of manifestation. You step, subtly, deliberately, into a position that every hunter would have avoided had they understood the architecture. Every microsecond of hesitation, every imperceptible calculation, every shift in perception aligns to reinforce your presence. And they see it then, perhaps too late, perhaps not fully, but they see the shape of inevitability. The city bends around you. Shadows anticipate you. Light responds to you. Every action, every thought, or every hesitation of the hunters amplifies the dominance you wield effortlessly. And there is no combat, no noise, no spectacle. The hunters cannot strike. They cannot flee. They cannot calculate fast enough. Every attempt at action reinforces the architecture of inevitability. Every misstep confirms the truth. You are beyond reach, beyond calculation, beyond fear, beyond opposition. And as they falter, as hesitation crystallizes into paralysis, as microseconds of indecision become patterns of control, the city itself recognizes the reality. Contracts are meaningless. Skill is irrelevant. Dominance is absolute. And now, with the hunters paralyzed in recognition, with the currents aligned, with the whispers solidified into acknowledgement, the final escalation occurs. It is not violence. It is not spectacle. It is refinement. It is calibration. It is the crystallization of presence into unchallenged dominance. Every shadow, every street, every reflective surface, every whispered syllable of your name reinforces what they cannot resist. And in that alignment, you are untouchable. You are beyond opposition. You are not hunted. You are inevitability made tangible. And as the currents pulse through the city, as anticipation solidifies, as every hunter feels the futility of resistance, one truth becomes undeniable. You are beyond them, beyond contracts, beyond fear, beyond calculation, beyond every measure they thought could contain you. The streets whisper it, the shadows bend toward it, the city itself resonates with it, and the hunters, the observers, the contract holders, all sense it and can do nothing but exist within the architecture you have created. Because in the end, action is irrelevant. The moment of confrontation is meaningless. The true victory is movement, perception, anticipation, influence, calibrated, refined, perfected, and you embody all of it effortlessly. They are not your prey, not yet, but they are participants in a reality you control without effort. Every breath, every glance, every subtle tilt of posture confirms it. Every hesitation, every miscalculation, every instinct they cannot suppress amplifies it. And the city hums in recognition. And so, as the whispers solidify, as inevitability pulses, as dominance crystallizes into reality, one final truth emerges. No contract, no skill, no hunter, no calculation, no environment, no whisper, no reflection, no alley, no shadow, no moment exists that can resist you. You are beyond them. You are beyond measure. You are beyond fear. And the city itself bends in acknowledgement. The escalation is complete. The influence is perfected. The hunters are irrelevant.